copywriting is kind of like a controlled daydream.
Hmm.
And that's kind of what that flow state looks like.
Yeah, I get that.
Because because you're coming up with things in your mind and you're looking at this specific problem in a way that nobody else is looking at it.
Hmm.
Even if there's another copywriter who's working on the project with you,
Hmm.
the two of you won't interpret the world the same way. I mean, you'll write a headline that sounds kind of similar, but each copywriter is kind of coming to that specific creative brief with their own life experiences. So they're kind of letting their mind wander a little bit, but with that wandering, there is a specific business objective that obviously you're trying to hit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think, in terms of just kind of being in that flow state. It can go a long way.
Taps into it. Yeah. It's interesting. So I can get philosophical on this show sometimes because I just think I think understanding people, human nature, how we function is super interesting. So it resonated with me when you said that point of like, there's something about like your unique ability to address this problem or write this, brief or whatever it is that you're doing, and other people can come to it a different way. And I often wonder about stuff like that because I totally relate to that. I get that. I think about that with the podcast and different things I do of like, I want it to be unique. I want to feel like I'm bringing some value to this that's different than other people can bring. But then sometimes I think about that, or you hear advice that people give, and it's almost like there's a negative connotation to that. Like that striving to be, I want to be special or I want to be unique causes anxiety, causes a lot of stress in the world, causes a lot of issues possibly. So I grapple with that a lot. And it's just, I don't know that I have a conclusion so much. It's an interesting thing, that compulsion we have to say like, hey, I want to show that I can do this in a way that others can't. But there's that competitive nature to that too, which kind of implies kind of like, well, I'm better than other people. And I know that's not what you're saying, I don't think, but I'm just curious how you think about that.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think one of the things I struggled with really early on in my career was just, we all have an ego, in terms of, and especially something like advertising where it's very subjective. You probably watch, if you watch TV, and even if you're on a streaming platform, you see commercials and, you're on the couch and you say that commercial wasn't funny, that one sucked, that one was okay. But in terms of, I don't know, I think one of the realizations that I had was about a year or two into my career, I realized like I wasn't the only person in the world who wrote good things. Like I had like 3 or 4 other really talented copywriters that I worked with. And every now and then they would write something where I would say to myself, oh, I wish I would have wrote that. And I always think that's a good thing. And I talk about it in the book a little bit is, you want to be in a room with other copywriters who are doing great work, because you never want to be the smartest person in the room. If you're the smartest person in the room, that means you've outgrown the room. So
is that real
funny
for you, Josh? I'm curious, and I ask this completely genuinely. I ask it as much of myself because you're hitting the exact right thread, at least how I think about it. Of like, sometimes I look at people that are succeeding and doing things well, and there's a part of me that says that's awesome. I'm super happy for them. There's room for everybody to grow. But I'd be lying if I didn't say there wasn't a part of me that's like, like how come them? Why not me? I wish I could be better. And I know that's not a good thing. I know that maybe that's part of the reason why success doesn't come sometimes. But for you, have you actually been able to get to a place where, like, if you see another copywriter do something where you're like, that's awesome, it doesn't have any negative sentiment for you, and there's no sense of like, I could do better, I think, or I why not me, that type of thing?
Yeah. Oh, that's Terry. That's huge. I mean, that's like the tale of my 2 careers. I mean, the first, and it's funny. So where I'm at, it was a really trying time because I saw every other copywriter in my group get promoted before me, and they all started after me. So that's a blow to your ego, And but it was funny because my boss would always tell me, he would say, your time's coming. He's like, I know you don't think it's coming fast enough. He's like, just hang with me. But I would say it took me about 5.5 years into my career to kind of realize that.